Hello, hello. How are you? Okay, let's give a round of applause to the Mobility 21 staff who did an awesome job for the breakout sessions. All of our speakers. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right, so I did peruse the expo hall. I'm going off script here. I did go. Who went to the expo hall? Raise your hands. All right, so swag at an expo hall is like my life. I love it. So I'm going to go through the top 4 things that I think are swaggable here at the expo hall. So top number 4, and well, this is in particular order, fidget spinners, people. Logo enhanced HNTB, YPG fidget spinners. You're welcome. All right. A Metrolink train whistle. It can't get much better than this. And wait for it. It's a keychain too. Just, your kids will love it. Yes. Number 2, this is a dual award. Kimley Horn. It's a, where is it? It's a little thing that you can put in the bottom of your phone, and it's actually a fan that twirls at the bottom of your phone. So your Beyonce enhanced Instagram photos can look even more amazing with SafeWork. SafeWork has this little lens that you put on your camera, you clip on. So not only are you gonna look amazing, the wind is gonna be blowing in your hair, you're gonna freaking love it. All right. And the number 1 thing, your cocktail game is gonna be strong, maybe at 4:30, 5 p.m., I'm not gonna judge. Oh, hello. It's a light up cocktail cube from M&S, and a wine and bottle opener from Venture Strategic. So let's give all of our exhibitors a round of applause. Well done on the swag game. Well done. All right, so welcome back. I'm gonna go on script now. I hope you found the morning educational and inspirational. I did, and today's titanium sponsor, yet again, WSP USA. Thank you for our luncheon sponsors, CH2M and HNTB, our fidget spinners right here. Let's give them a round of applause. But before we get started, key elected officials that kindly made their way to this afternoon's extravaganza. Lisa Bartlett, County of Orange, hold your applause. If you'd like to stand, we'd love to see you and adore you. Glenn Becerra, Council Member of the City of Simi Valley. Brian McDonald, Council Member, City of Oxnard. Marion Ashley, Riverside County Board of Supervisors. Brian Berkson, Council Member, the City of Yorupa Valley. My favorite, Wendy Buckna, Mayor of City of Mission Viejo. Jim Clark, Council Member, City of Culver City. Lindsay Howrath, Council Member for the City of West Hollywood. Bob Huff, former State Senator. Marsha McLean, Council Member, City of Santa Clarita. Richard Murphy, Council Member of the City of Los Alamitos. Sam Pedroza, the Council Member, City of Claremont. Karen Spiegel, Vice Mayor of the City of Corona, and John Tavaglione, I like that, I should say that, I'm Italian, Supervisor of the County of Riverside. Give them a round of applause. Thank them for all their support and their service. Thank you guys so much. So we're very excited for today's luncheon program to feature Phil Washington, the CEO of Metro. I know, Metro fans over here. And a presentation of our 2017 award winners, followed by our featured keynote speaker, Landon Taylor. But first, I'd like to introduce our first speaker. Chief Executive Officer of Los Angeles Metropolitan Transportation Authority and Mobility 21 board member, Philip A. Washington. Phil came to Los Angeles 2 years ago at a time when Metro had 5 rail projects plus highway projects under construction, together representing the largest modern public works program in the United States. Quite a significant program, one would think. And today, Metro is poised to make history again in transportation and infrastructure innovation as it leads a program that will bring our region 40 highway and transit projects, backed by Measure M and some of the top transportation talent in the nation. As CEO of Metro, Phil oversees the transportation planning and program for Los Angeles County and the funding of construction for an array of street, highway, and transit improvements. However, Metro's impact for our region does not lie solely on LA County limits. With a total bus and rail ridership approaching 1.2 million boardings per day, an annual budget of $5.6 billion with a B dollars, and more than 10,000 employees, its support of Metrolink, Metro is a significant partner to the SCAG region. It also is an important voice in Sacramento and Washington, D.C., and a nationally recognized transportation leader delivering projects that move people and goods throughout the United States. Metro is a founding member of Mobility 21, thank you, and Phil serves as a Mobility 21 board member alongside Southern California public agency and private sector CEOs. We are thrilled to have Phil with us and can't wait to have him tell us how, under his leadership and with Metro, they are transforming the Southern California area. Please join me in welcoming Philip Washington to the stage. I'll take my swag. I don't want you to steal it. I'm just kidding. You good?
Thank you so much, Carrie. It's great to be here. Let's give a big hand to Jenny Larios and her team for putting this conference on. I'm very, very happy to be here and want to welcome all of you to Mobility 21. This one focused on transforming California. Across the U.S., transportation is really transforming the country. I was talking to a group about a week ago, and I was talking about how the older cities in the Northeast were really transformed by transportation. When you think about the grids of New York and Chicago and Boston and Philadelphia, those cities were transformed by transportation, and we're in the midst of that now with tremendous investment in transportation right here in Southern California. We're leading the way. I like to say that we are the infrastructure capital of the world. Yes. We've got Measure M that will deliver and generate $120 billion in the first 40 years. We got the redevelopment of LAX. We have a $2 billion NFL football stadium complex, and I like to joke that that football stadium will house not one but two losing football teams. I'm still a Chicago Bear fan. Speaking of losing is what I just heard. Our country has been on an infrastructure vacation for the last 30 years. Quite honestly, our infrastructure forefathers are embarrassed because we've been on that infrastructure vacation for the last 3 decades. When we talk about the deteriorating bridges and roads and the need to construct new transit projects, most of this has to happen through infrastructure. Much of this will happen through innovation as well. We're embracing the evolution of technology in a big way. We're looking at how we can deliver transportation projects sooner and quicker. That's why we have created an office of what I call extraordinary innovation at Metro. We want to embrace creativity. We want to embrace different ways of doing business. We're lucky to have leaders like Elon Musk right here in Southern California, who's really altering the way people and goods move around. Last year, we had a large industry forum where we welcome people from around the world to talk about what we're doing here in Southern California. Just last month, we hosted another industry forum to roll out our intentions to develop a micro-transit operations project, and I call it an Uber-like or Lyft-like service. Well, Metro will do curb-to-curb service with smaller vehicles. We are looking at the first and last mile. Over 300 private sector partners showed up at that industry forum. So we're looking for ways to stimulate innovation, and we're looking for ways to pilot things and do things new. This is not, I like to say, your grandfather's transportation agency. This is much, much more. We're looking at ridership differently. People have reported that ridership is declining. I like to look at, and I like to redefine this whole idea of ridership by looking at all of the positive things that we impact around the region, whether it's express lanes, whether it's first last mile, whether it's our bike share program. I like to look at all of those things and not just look at one indicator, that being ridership. I mentioned Measure M, building 40 major projects in the first 40 years. We are talking about an ongoing funding stream to keep our system in good repair. We cannot build infrastructure and then not take care of it. This is why the Metro Board looked at this and said transportation is an ongoing need, and so therefore we have no sunset on this measure because transportation is an ongoing need. Transportation is in many ways, I like to say, a socio-economic enabler. Transportation decides who goes to what school. Transportation decides who gets the best health care. Transportation decides who gets the job across town. Transportation is a socio-economic enabler in a big way. We're looking at various tools in our toolbox to deliver projects quicker. We're looking at public-private partnerships in a big way. We just had an announcement yesterday where we are moving significant portions of the Measure M program forward and look to partner with the private sector to be able to do that quicker. We have initiated what we call a Workforce Initiative Now, or the Win LA program. We want this Win LA program to look at communities and identify, assess, train, and put people to work in many of our disadvantaged communities as well. We want to be the infrastructure capital of the world here in Southern California. We are in the midst of a transportation revolution. We want to look at not just buses and trains, but we want to look at how we can partner with the Amazons of the world. We want to look at how we can partner with drone technology to check infrastructure, to check our overhead catenary systems, and to check our track areas. We want to be the mobility center of excellence in this country. We want people to say that if you want good transportation technology, folks, come to Southern California, which is why we have created a careers pathway to prepare our workforce here in Southern California. One of my biggest concerns is whether we have the qualified workforce to build new infrastructure in this country and repair the infrastructure that needs to be repaired. And so in answer to that question, we have created this career pathway that looks at sort of cradle to grave in how we can prepare people to work in this industry. We are moving forward with creating a transportation school in Los Angeles, grades 6 to 12, to prepare a qualified workforce. We are going to concentrate on young people and kids in the DCFS system, in the foster care system. It is in our best interest to prepare young people for transportation careers so that when there are natural disasters, and by the way, the natural disasters in Texas and Miami and Puerto Rico, those are impacting infrastructure. And by the way, there probably will be sending prices higher for infrastructure as well because of those natural disasters. We want people, when those things happen, we want people to say, if you want great workers, go to Southern California. And so this Career Pathways program is very, very important to us. It's the realization that infrastructure is the new thing. It is the new thing, and we have to be ready for it. And we're also looking at next generation mobility as we do that. Let me talk very briefly about where we are with Measure M and Measure R. We are managing almost $20 billion in construction projects. The Crenshaw line in South LA is 70% complete. The regional connector, which will allow for a one-seat ride all the way from Azusa and soon to be Claremont, all the way down to Long Beach. The purple line that goes out west, sections 1, 2, and 3. Section 1 is in construction at about 35–40% right now. Section 2, we have a contractor on board. Section 3, we have a tunneling solicitation on the street right now. We're evaluating that. And also, we're putting out a station contract. The Measure M projects are looking to be accelerated. I mentioned the P3 announcements. We are working with the various cities on construction permitting. We are working on our transit-oriented communities program, where we are looking at neighborhoods where we have transportation infrastructure, and we are looking to make sure that we work with the various cities to make sure those areas are developed and working with them on permitting as well. We are restructuring our bus system. Metro's bus system has not been restructured in about 25 years or so. There's been tweaks along the way, but we want to restructure the entire bus system, and so we're looking at that. I mentioned the human capital piece and project labor agreements. We are moving on that, and we just established the first ever Women and Girls Governing Council to discuss how Metro's programs, services, and policies impact the lives of women and girls in LA County. So here at the Mobility 21 Summit, all of us elected officials, public and private sector leadership, we're all on a mission to ease congestion, create jobs, and improve the life of our residents. There's strength in that we are catalysts for evolution. We need to be strong as we push these things forward. In order for us to empower California, we must push for the resources we need to evolve the way we do business. So there's a big challenge out there. There's a big challenge for us to think in an innovative fashion. There is a challenge out there for us to be bold. This is not the time to be timid on infrastructure. Now is the time for us to tell our story as to why infrastructure is so important. Infrastructure, I was talking to a group in the breakout panel and talking about how this interconnectivity with regard to the economy and the projects that we build. I asked our team to give me a list of where we get all of our materials from for all of our projects. And our materials come from all over the country, so we're impacting the economy in a positive way just with projects here in Southern California. So let me end by saying that Yes, we are in the midst of a transportation revolution. Can somebody say transportation revolution? Thank you. We are in the midst of a transportation revolution. We want you to be part of that revolution, and we're happy to be here at Mobility 21. Thank you so much. So now I want to continue our 2017 awards presentation. And you can see the list of previous winners on the screen. Our next honoree is especially worthy of recognition by Mobility 21. This award recognizes the 2017 Public Sector Leader of the Year. He's one of the smartest people I know. He's a man who thinks creatively and yet sensibly, a true leader with a highly developed worldview, but with a laser focus on local needs and issues, and that is Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti. Mayor Garcetti was raised in the San Fernando Valley and earned a BA and an MA from Columbia University. He studied as a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford and at the London School of Economics. He is a fourth-generation Angelino. He is a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy Reserve, and I'll forgive him for that because I'm Army. Mayor Garcetti's Back to Basics agenda is focused on job creation and solving everyday problems for LA residents. And at Metro, we are sure that among his greatest achievements will turn out to be the passage last November of Measure M, the ballot measure for transportation. Yes. Please join me in watching this video in honor of Mayor Eric Garcetti.
Mobility 21 is proud to recognize Eric Garcetti with the 2017 Private Sector Leader of the Year Award. Mayor Eric Garcetti, as first Vice Chair for Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, was instrumental in being a major public face for the successful 2016 Measure M campaign that was approved by 71.4% of Los Angeles County voters. Measure M provides a half-cent sales tax that provides over $120 billion in revenue over the first 40 years.
The positive impact of Measure M on the citizens of Los Angeles County and Southern California will be felt for decades. New transportation options, improvements in streets and highways, construction jobs, and long-term economic impact will be the legacy of Measure M.
His work today will impact many, many generations to come. He's a visionary, he's a leader. I call him a regional mayor because his leadership goes beyond LA City, beyond LA County, beyond even Southern California and California to the national level.
Mayor Garcetti is the 42nd mayor of Los Angeles. His Back to Basics agenda has been focused on job creation and solving everyday problems for Los Angeles and the region. Propelled by his goals of making Los Angeles environmentally healthy and economically prosperous, Mayor Garcetti oversaw the opening of 2 Metro Rail line extensions, which added 13 more stations and added 105 miles of rail. Mayor Garcetti is a leading innovator in transportation. He is leading the drive to link rail with LAX for the very first time through an airport people mover to the terminals, which will connect the Metro Crenshaw LAX line. Through his Great Streets initiative, Mayor Garcetti has initiated programs to revitalize dozens of neighborhood streets to provide more community access, reduce commercial vacancies, and improve parking and mobility throughout the region.
40 projects in the next 40 years, with 18 projects in the next 15 years, will really transform transportation and mobility in the region. Our children, our grandchildren will benefit from the leadership of Mayor Garcetti with regard to transportation transformation.
Mobility 21 presents Eric Garcetti with the 2017 Public Sector Leader of the Year Award for his leadership in advancing transportation and mobility in Southern California.
All right. Mayor Garcetti sincerely regrets not being able to join us here today, but late last night, the mayor actually had an urgent matter come up. He's very disappointed he could not be here. He was, however, able to create this brief video to thank each of you for this honor. So please view this video.
Good morning, Mobility 21. It's Mayor Eric Garcetti, and I am so sorry not to be with you. I'm recording this morning here at LAX before I get on a plane to San Francisco. The governor called yesterday and asked me to join the signing of the housing package that I was very involved in and that I lobbied for to make sure that we connect the pieces in this state between transportation, housing, and economic prosperity. But let me just say I love coming to Mobility 21, and I'm very sad not to be with you. And I'm so honored to receive this award from you, because we collectively achieved great things in this past year. We passed not just the largest transportation initiative in Los Angeles County history, not just the largest in Southern California or California history, but the largest package at the local level in our nation's history, ×2. We came together with a bottoms-up approach that works for every corner of LA County. It's an amazing and historic accomplishment. But we're not at the end of the road yet, and we need your help. We still have traffic in LA County just as you do in Orange, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties, just as every place in Southern California does. And that traffic doesn't stop at county borders, which is why our future has to be about collaboration. And we will take this effort seriously on the part of our boards, our agencies, and all stakeholders. So let's get together, figure out a way to be stronger and more effective together. This year, I chair the Metro Board, and I plan to reach out and convene meetings with LA County's neighbors so that we can start that work now. Another priority we have is making sure Southern California gets its fair share of funding from Washington, D.C. That's why I'm advocating for a bipartisan federal infrastructure package called I-3, the Infrastructure Incentives Initiative. We need to find new ways to accelerate our progress and to ease congestion. That's how we're going to ensure a Southern California with a high quality of life and a thriving economy. A place where our children can grow up breathing cleaner air, where families can have dinner together because they're no longer stuck in traffic on the way home. A place where we can proudly host the 2028 Olympics. That's what our future should look like. And I will always be grateful for what you do to make that future real for everyone fortunate enough to call Southern California home. And this award I accept on behalf of all the people who dreamed that we could go to the voters and pass something bigger than we ever imagined. So I'm sorry I missed you today. I can't wait to return next year, and thank you for this honor and this great award.
So our next award recipient is 2017 Private Sector Leader of the Year, Transportation California. For the last 27 years, the advocacy work of Transportation California has helped bring together a united voice in Sacramento to urge our state leaders to improve our transportation infrastructure. Their leadership and efforts were a key factor in the successful package and passage of SB 1. Please join me in viewing this video.
Mobility 21 is proud to recognize Transportation California with the 2017 Private Sector Leader of the Year Award. Transportation California is a diverse, nonpartisan, nonprofit coalition representing a broad spectrum of business, labor, and planning agencies which have united to create an advocacy and public education group. Among the group's many accomplishments, the recent advocacy work of Transportation California helped bring together a unified voice in Sacramento to urge our state leaders to fix our deteriorating roads, highways, and bridges.
A lot of people had to get behind SB 1, and that included the business community. Transportation California is to be applauded for helping to bring the business community to the table of support for SB 1.
The passage of Senate Bill 1 by Senator Bell will update the state's outdated revenue system and address our roads, add capacity to our transportation system, improve our local transit systems, and help move goods to market.
We all know that raising taxes is controversial, and rightfully so. It can be a very difficult conversation. But this year it was a conversation that we all really needed to have. Transportation California brought their expertise, their credibility, their detailed information to the table so that decision makers had that information at hand to make such a difficult decision. Improving transportation, improving quality of life, improving public safety is all really important, and Transportation California really came through to help make sure that we all had the information that we needed, and they did so in a very credible, factual way, and they're very deserving of this recognition.
Mobility 21 presents Transportation California with the 2017 Private Sector Leader of the Year Award for its leadership in advancing transportation and mobility in California.
So please help me welcome to the stage Transportation California Chairman Steve Clark and Executive Director Roger Dickinson.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. As mentioned, my name is Steve Clark. I am Vice President of Granite Construction Company, and I'm honored also to be the Chairman of Transportation California. I'd like to first start by congratulating all the others that are here today that are being recognized. These awards reinforce how important the contributions of all are to the success of the mobility of our Californian citizens. Those famous philosophers, the Rolling Stones once said, "You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you just might get what you need." And those words were never more true than this year, when perhaps we did not get everything we wanted, but by trying and not giving up, we got what we needed. Historic legislation to increase funding to not only fix our roads, but improve our transportation systems. Our success is attributable to the skill and perseverance of the governor, the speaker, the Senate pro tem, and all the legislators who supported the legislation, and to the unwavering determination of so many of you here today to get this across the goal line. For Transportation California, I want to recognize the Herculean efforts of our former executive director, Mr. Will Kempton, who's seated in the back, and also to our advocate, Mr. Mark Watts. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge the foundational support we receive from the Southern California Partnership for Jobs, Mr. John Hakel and his staff, and the California Alliance for Jobs, Mr. Michael Quigley and his staff. In the wake of passage of SB 1, our mission remains the same: to advocate on behalf of our coalition and construction partners, management, and labor, to fund and create a better transportation system to move the people and goods of California, to foster good-paying, skilled jobs, and to help grow our economy. To the naysayers who would have us try to go backwards, who threaten us with recalls and repeal initiatives, we simply say that we'll fight even harder than we did on getting this achieved. I am pleased. Thank you. I am really pleased to be able to accept this award on behalf of the board and the members of Transportation California, and extremely grateful for your recognition of our work here today. Thank you.
Congratulations. Give them another round of applause. Fantastic. So our next award recipient is somewhat familiar figure in transportation. He's worked behind the scenes. It sounds very Wizard of Oz like, doesn't it? Behind the scenes, bringing together disparate voices throughout Southern California, expertly advising our agency CEOs and moving the needle on critical freight and transportation issues. Please join me in viewing this video of our mysterious recipient and all of our transportation leaders who share their visions and their thoughts about this exceptional person.
Mobility 21 is proud to recognize Barry Engelberg with the 2017 Lifetime Achievement Award. A transportation professional with expertise in government affairs, Barry Engelberg worked for leading transportation agencies assisting with key regional issues. He served as district assistant to Congressman Glenn Anderson, worked for Mobil Oil, Paramount Petroleum, the Southern California Rapid Transit District, and the Orange County Transportation Authority.
Barry possesses many qualities to make him an influential and trusted advisor, but the key one I'd like to start with is he was always honest and straightforward. Oftentimes, sometimes people want to tell you what you want to hear. Barry was never that guy. He would be honest, he would be straightforward, he would do it in an appropriate manner, but that quality of honesty and just acknowledging the issue at hand, figuring out how to get to the end result was absolutely a critical part of the value that he had to our organization.
Barry Engelberg helped implement key regional initiatives and was an influential member of our industry. While at RTD, he was the head of the government relations team and played an integral role in securing funds for the first segment of the Red Line.
Well, it's hard to believe now, but when Barry arrived, there was no rail in Los Angeles. There was no subway, there was no Metrolink, there was no nothing. We had never gotten a federal grant for a rail project, had never done one. When Barry joined us, he came from Congressman Glenn Anderson's office, and he was the guy that ultimately succeeded in getting the first grants that led to the first subway segment, the groundbreaking for which occurred at First and Hill many years ago when Barry was a young man.
Barry has often worked behind the scenes on critical freight and regional transportation efforts. His outreach and ability to bring together disparate groups has helped resolve challenging transportation issues.
He's been a fixture in the region and has been a resource for all of us for a very long time, and we certainly miss his insight as we tackle the problems of the future.
We were working on the Trade Corridor program as part of Proposition 1B, and it required Southern California to really pull together, link arms, and advocate for our region, and then once we got the money, actually deliver. Barry was always a voice of reason in the room. He was encouraging, I think that's a polite word for it, in making sure that we stayed focused, made sure that we thought of the big picture and of what this really, really meant for the region, and it was very motivating.
I'm off to say that we all have a cross to bear. Barry's, unfortunately, is that he is a New York Giants fan. Go Cowboys!
Mobility 21 is proud to recognize Barry Engelberg with the 2017 Lifetime Achievement Award for his dedication and commitment to enhancing mobility and the quality of life in Southern California.
Please join in me in welcoming to the podium 2017 Giants fan Lifetime Achievement Award, Barry Engelberg.
Oh, hi. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You see my agent about this? Okay. Yeah, we stink 0-3. I tell you. Tampa Bay, here we come Sunday. What a bunch of nonsense. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I want to talk as long as I can. I want to thank the Mobility 21 Board of Directors. I mean, the board had to be drunk when it approved this nomination. I mean, I know Art Leahy has a tendency to be overserved. After 39 years, you can't do anything. It's good to be back in the Orange County Republic. Although I must admit, I forgot about the cavity search at the LA border. You know, looking at this award, I feel like I should open an insurance agency. That was a joke. I thought it was good. Frankly, I didn't know whether I'd be able to make it here today because I was concerned that now that I'm retired, the summit would conflict with The Price is Right. I would like to do the following if I could in the time I have, since I really don't know when the music is going to come on. Or are they too cheap this year? There's no music. Okay, so here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to, oh, hold on, wait a minute. Oh, hold on. By the way, see the case? NY, baby. Okay, hold on, I have to take this. Hello? Yes. Good to hear from you. Yes, good. Oh, great. Okay. Oh, by the way, yeah, great job on that gas tax bill. Also, State Senator Newman, he sends his best. Oh, yeah, and State Assemblyman Travis Allen, he called. No message. Okay. I'm sorry about that. That was State Senator De Leon, and he said I could take as long as I like. So, I'd like to do a few things. One, I'd like to make a personal introduction. Two, I'd like to mention two people who have had a profound effect on my professional life. Three, state the reason why I do not deserve this award, but who does. And four, make a request. So bear with me. I'd like to introduce Phyllis Sharon. Phyllis, please get up. No, he's going to stand up and take this. This is why you weren't going to see the remarks. My heart opened when I met Phyllis 15 years ago. Trust me when I tell you that Phil and I have been through a great deal together. Phyllis is a saint. What she doesn't know yet is that we're leaving for the Vatican next week to start the beatification process. I didn't know there were so many Roman Catholics in the audience. Oh, you must read, I guess. While I don't pretend to understand that magic act, once the officials at the Vatican meet her, I know they will have no problem making their decision regarding her sainthood. And one more thing, promo here. If any of you A&E construction firms or consultants firms need a computer-educated consultant, see Phyllis. The two individuals who have had the greatest impact on my professional life were Congressman Glenn Anderson, who I worked for in the mid-'70s. Mid-'70s, some of you weren't even born in the mid-'70s. Anderson showed me what raw bipartisan political power could achieve. Anderson was one of the major unsung heroes behind the successful construction of the Red Line subway in Los Angeles. Marv Holan, who is still going strong at 85, was a member of the Southern California Rapid Transit District, or the RTD, as it was called then during the Metrorail years. Holan showed me how to develop a political and legislative strategy regarding the Red Line. I thought I knew everything about politics then. In fact, I knew nothing. Marv Holan proved that to me more times than I care to count. Now, why I do not deserve this award. My 15 minutes of fame occurred back in the 70s to the mid-80s at the RTD. I don't know that I have accomplished much, very much since. So who does deserve this award? I want to accept this award on behalf and recognition of the work done by all the staffs at the transportation authorities and commissions in the SCAG region, SCAG staff, Caltrans, the staffs at the regional ports, the TCA, Metrolink, LoSan, the Alameda Construction Authority, the Alameda Corridor East Construction Authority, the Metro Gold Line Foothill Extension Authority, the Echo Transit Line, the regional airports, and Mobility 21. These are the folks who are in the trenches every day, fighting the good fight, sometimes in spite of their governing boards, trying to make Southern California a better place. They deserve this award. I don't. Please give them a round of applause. And now I have a request. Will someone, anyone, please build the SR-57 truck climb lane? Once again, you have been a bit better than an average audience. And if I may, and I can ask you to do a few things, please pray for the people in Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and for a gentleman by the name of Santiago Maldonado, who is a civil rights leader of the Mapuches indigenous people of the Patagonian region of Argentina, who mysteriously disappeared there last month. And remember this, lullabies never die, and I'll see you at the next barricade. I was told to take, this is heavy. Thank you.
Well done. Congratulations. Let's give Barry another round of applause. He needs it for all those giant fans out there. So before we get started, I just want to take a moment. If you can turn to the closest server by you and just give him or her a round of applause. Say thank you. Don over there, Don is living it up over there. Our banquets team, our catering team are world class. So thank you on behalf of the Disneyland Resort, all of our friends in banquets and catering. Thank you. Our next award recipient is an extraordinary champion for business in California, Cal Chamber. They work side by side with business leaders, and they are state champions, championing statewide initiatives, and they fight for a strong jobs climate. Cal Chamber was at the forefront of advocacy in the recent passage of SB1. Please join me in watching this video.
Mobility 21 is proud to recognize California Chamber of Commerce with the 2017 Private Sector Leader of the Year Award.
The California Chamber of Commerce is deserving of the Private Sector Leader of the Year for its involvement in SB1 because it was a tough and controversial position, but they knew it was the right thing to do for the business community and the people of California.
Cal Chamber's active government relations program works with business leaders throughout the state to take the lead on statewide initiative campaigns to fight for a strong jobs climate. Cal Chamber was actively involved in advocating for the recent passage of Senate Bill 1 by Senator Bell to address the critical funding challenges the state faces.
Senate Bill 1 not only is an improvement in the infrastructure, in road repairs, but it's also a job-creating bill. On some estimates, there's 18,000 jobs created for every $1 billion worth of investment. This is an amazing legacy for our economy and for moving our infrastructure to the next generation and the next level, something we should all be very proud of.
Senate Bill 1 will raise gas taxes and vehicle fees by $5.2 billion per year to pay for the repair of California's roads, highways, and bridges, and address a backlog of $130 billion in repair and replacement projects throughout the state.
The California Chamber of Commerce is deserving of the Private Sector Leader of the Year award because in transportation, we all have usual suspects. The California Chamber is not a usual suspect. And in this case, in California, the Cal Chamber stepped up and advocated for a program that was going to bring benefits and investment to all of California in our transportation system.
Mobility 21 is proud to recognize California Chamber of Commerce with the 2017 Private Sector Leader of the Year Award for its contributions to transportation in California.
So the California Chamber of Commerce cannot be with us here today, but has extended their thanks for this wonderful honor. Thank you to Cal Chamber for your incredible efforts on behalf of transportation and championing SB1. Please give another round of applause for Cal Chamber. Now, Mobility 21's 2017 Innovative Partnership Recognition goes to an amazing group of partners who delivered an amazing project. For many, including myself, who live, work in the Southern California area, have many reasons to go on the 91 freeway in Riverside. And many of us who commute on the 91 freeways to our jobs, to visit friends, family, take vacation, it connects Los Angeles and Orange County to the Inland Empire and so much more. Please take a look at this video.
The Riverside County Transportation Commission is very proud to have opened its newly completed 91 express lanes and general purpose lanes. The $1.4 billion project extends the 91 express toll lanes through Corona and added general purpose lanes between the 71 and Interstate 15. It was built by a robust team of more than 1,300 workers each day. The new 91 express lanes are a seamless transition from the express lanes in Orange County, extending the toll lanes for an additional 8 miles. In addition to the express lanes, one new general purpose lane was added in both directions on the 91 between the 71 and I-15. What a difference 3 years make. The new lanes and highway improvements are saving time, enhancing safety, and reducing congestion for motorists on the 91. We thank all the businesses, residents, and motorists who patiently manage the challenges of this complex construction effort. Together, we went fast forward into an era of better travel on the 91.
Round of applause, yes. When they finished construction on the 91 widening and express lanes in Riverside, I think all Southern Californians collectively jumped out of their seats to sing and shout. And after so much anticipation, they all got on the 91 freeway to get where they needed to go even faster and more easily than before. Please help me welcome to the stage our honorees and Mayor Executive Director of Riverside County Transportation Commission, Kirk Avila, Director of Tolling with the Orange County Transportation Authority, and Gary Hausdorfer with Coffee Route USA.
Good afternoon. Thank you very, very much. It's pretty hard to deny this is an awesome project. And so it's really a wonderful opportunity to be here with you today. You know, for a project of this size and this complexity, to have the project open and operating as quickly as it was done, it's really an amazing feat. But it didn't just start a couple of years ago. The 91 project, an important goal to have a seamless corridor between Riverside and Orange counties, that started decades ago. It's been decades worth of work, starting with the leadership of the elected officials in both counties who knew they needed to make a difference on that corridor and who knew that they needed to work together. Many of those elected officials from both counties are here in the audience today, so if we could first give them a round of applause for their leadership and vision in making sure this happened. To have two public agencies and the private sector operator of a toll facility takes partnership, it takes leadership, it takes a willingness to roll up your sleeves and make sure that we're all working towards the same goal. And that goal is to make sure that people who travel along that corridor have a seamless opportunity, seamless options, so that they can get where they need to go, and to do so to maintain their quality of life. And that's a pretty challenging thing when you're spending hours and hours a day in traffic. So thank you very much, Mobility 21, for your recognition of this public-private partnership. I get to stand up here at the podium and the microphone and say thank you, but it's with the partnership that we've had with both of our agencies as well as Coffee Route, it's really made a huge difference. And I also want to point out this audience is filled with public sector staff, private sector consultants and staff who've also dedicated years of their life to getting this project done. Congratulations to you all. My hat's off to you. You've done a tremendous job. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. And now for our featured keynote speaker. I'm so pleased to welcome Landon Taylor, CEO of Base 11. And Base 11 is a nonprofit workforce and entrepreneur development company. Working with industry, academia, and philanthropy, Landon leads Base 11's efforts to transform low-resource high school and college students into STEM talent for our future. And as we heard from Phil Washington and Mayor Garcetti, our industry has an immediate and enormous workforce need. Please join me in watching this video.
What motivated me to sign up for the STEM Entrepreneur Summit is the fact that I am a STEM student. I love science, technology, engineering, and math. And when I found out there was a summit welcoming entrepreneurs like myself, I wanted to be a part of it.
The unique combination of STEM education and entrepreneurship combined together. And it gave us a vision of really having this goal to produce the 21st century STEM entrepreneurs and workforce. And that's what got us here.
I really like what Darren Hardy has had to say. Him speaking about being an entrepreneur and being a leader.
It opened my eyes to new opportunities and that STEM is very demanding and it is something that I definitely want to pursue.
To introduce them to the opportunity of entrepreneurship and open their eyes to what's possible, not just in the landscape of economics, but what's possible inside each of them. The sole proprietor has an unlimited opportunity today to start and ignite their ideas, unprecedented in human history. For the individual entrepreneur, there has never been a more opportune time.
Finding ways for Shark Tank, this big brand, to support entrepreneurship. So getting more young people on a track with technical expertise that can then lead to getting funding. That's something that I'm really excited about, and definitely excited about having more folks from diverse communities, not only in these conversations, but also leading these companies and getting the investments that they'll deserve.
I am representing South Mountain Community College, which is in Phoenix, Arizona. It was important for me and my team to be here in order to really reinforce the entrepreneur mindset and the power that us as students have for the future generations, and in order to lead those generations and be the example of leaders that this nation needs.
What do all these companies have in common? All of these companies were started by founders in their teens or 20s. These companies were started by people just like you.
Amazing. Please join me in welcoming Landon Taylor, CEO of Base 11.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Awesome.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon. Okay, good afternoon. All right. Well, the students you just saw in that video are the future innovators of California. And because California is always on the lead, I would say the future innovators in our country. I'm so excited to be here with you this afternoon because I love the theme of this conference, Transforming California. Because just 10 years ago, while serving as a senior exec at First American Corporation, which is located right here in Orange County, I came up with the following prediction. Human development will prove to be the industrial revolution of the 21st century. Think about that. And 3 years ago, my co-founders and I decided that we would step up and be a part of that revolution by launching Base 11. And for those of you who don't know much about us, Base 11, as you heard, is a nonprofit STEM workforce and entrepreneur development company. And we're out to solve two of this country's most significant challenges. One, the growing STEM talent pipeline crisis that's being fueled by the underrepresentation of women and ethnic minorities. And two, the absence of a sustainable middle class. And our approach to solving both of those is to transform high potential, low resource students, like you saw in the video, into the STEM trained talent that industry and our country so desperately needs. Our approach to doing it is to form interconnected, strategically integrated partnerships between the stakeholders, industry, academia, and philanthropy, for the distinct purpose of preparing these students for a pathway into what we call the Base 11 Victory Circle, which is defined by a student either one, joining a four-year university studying a STEM major, number two, getting hired for a high-paid STEM job, or three, launching their own STEM-related enterprise. Hit one of those goals, and they've reached the Victory Circle. And I'd love to share with you a couple of examples of transformation, student transformation that's been going on. This is Paul Grad. He came to us when he was a community college student at West LA. And when he came to us, he had no confidence. He didn't think that a STEM career at Metro LA would be possible for him. Because one of the challenges, or the largest barriers faced by underserved students is one, a lack of awareness that an engineering degree or engineering job is even possible. Number two, a lack of belief that they could do it. And number three, a lack of access to the resources that are needed for them to be successful. Well, when Paul came to us, he was able to get into one of our flagship programs, our partnership with Caltech University, where he was able to be a part of an 8-week on-campus paid residency program paired up with a PhD student. And at the end of the 8 weeks, they created a capstone project that they presented. He was transformed. At the end of that, not only did he have the confidence to know that he could go on to be a computer scientist, but he had the skill set and the credibility where he got recruited, and now he is at UC Irvine studying computer science. Alina, yes, round of applause. Alina, community college student, dad said, forget about being an engineer. We just want you to be a nurse. Well, nursing is fine, that's a great career, but she said, forget that, I want to be an engineer. So she got involved, and I'd like to share with you that not only did she complete the program, but she now says she's going to go on and get her PhD. And Hugo came to this country 5 years ago. When he came here, he could not speak English just 5 years ago. He had this dream to become a NASA space engineer. He came to us when he was at Orange Coast Community College. He got involved in our program at USC's engineering school. And this last year, he got a full ride scholarship to the engineering school at USC. And he's well on his way, yes. And he's well on his way now to becoming that NASA space engineer. The reason why it's so critical for us to do this, you see this slide, I pulled this from a New York Times article about a month ago, and it's the problem on one slide. And it shows that the gap between the haves and the have-nots is only getting wider. And as you can see now, the income earning increase is only happening at the highest affluent level. And the middle income is going down. If we don't change this, we won't have the employee base in California. Companies will move out and we'll have a challenge. So what do we need to do about it? Base 11 is focused on this solution, creating a STEM career accelerator model where we're bringing industry together with academia and putting students on a pathway for them to be ready for those 21st century jobs that you've been talking about here in order to build infrastructure. The core component of the model is us building ecosystems with all the key stakeholders in mind, and anchored in those ecosystems is an innovation center. I was happy to hear that there's an innovation center at Metro LA. That's a great example of what we need. In those innovation centers, students get the opportunity to get trained on 21st century in-demand skills that the greatest employers are looking for. An example of that is what we're doing at UCI in the Autonomous Systems Engineering Academy, where university students, community college, all the way down to high school seniors are learning how to build a fully functional autonomous system, drone, from scratch. Learning Arduino, learning coding, learning engineering design. And what's awesome about it is that we have an industry partnership with Dassault Systems. Many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with Dassault. Their engineering design platform is the most used worldwide. As you can see, they're now being prepared, these students, to be sought after by over 12 industry segments. And what industry do you see at the top? Transportation and mobility. So those skills that they're learning, when they come out on the other side, they're ready to go to work in your industry. And that's what's pretty phenomenal. What's our BHAG? Our big, hairy, audacious goal is to help 11,000 students. That's right, write that one down, BHAG, use that when you go back to the office. Big, hairy, audacious goal is to get 11,000 students through this ecosystem. You see, high school, community college, into the Innovation Center, and out to those 3 destinations at the bottom. Four-year university, get a job, and being able to go on to become a STEM entrepreneur. This is where we are located so far: Northern California, Southern, Phoenix, Arizona, and Philadelphia. And next week I'm flying to Kansas City, where we've been asked by the STEM ecosystems across the country, 54 ecosystems coming together saying, please share your model with us. And I think as a result, we'll hit that goal. I'd like to close my time with you with a challenge question and a call to action. Here's my challenge question. What could you do that would transform California, but also potentially be one of the most greatest contributors to making sure this great country stays on the top of innovation for the next 100 years? I would like to share my answer to that, and that is to have you join the STEM revolution. And what that means is for you to launch a proactive STEM talent development strategy that has diversity and inclusion at its heart. And as a result of that, if we can do it together, 2 things will happen. One, as Phil Washington mentioned, we will make sure that Southern California is the place for innovation and where people come for the right talent. But number 2, we'll build a sustainable middle class in America made up of all Americans. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a fantastic organization and an amazing story. Thank you for educating us about your inspirational message and how we can identify, support, and develop under-resourced high school and college students to become the next generation of our STEM workforce. And thank you to Mayor Garcetti and CEO Phil Washington for sharing your vision and goals, and to all of our wonderful and inspiring winners. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, so let's head into our afternoon breakout sessions on the second floor of the Magic Kingdom Ballroom. We have ushers, wayfinding signs to assist you. And our closing session is going to feature a panel of all the Southern California Transportation Agency CEOs, a must-do. Don't you dare skip it. Starts at 3:00 p.m. And don't forget, we'll be announcing raffle prize winners. You must be present to win. And if you're eligible for a Disney Twilight ticket, they will be at the customer service booth at 4 p.m., immediately closing, after the closing session. Thank you guys so much, and see you back 3 p.m.